I feel like Willie Brown. Yeah, it's begun. Yeah. Happy Tuesday, everyone. So San Francisco 49ers player Ricky Pearsall will miss at least 4 games after being shot during an attempted robbery, or as the Detroit Lions call it, the off-season. Kamala Harris is being called out for wearing headphones and holding her cell phone up to her ear.
It hit.
It's like wearing a belt and suspenders. This to avoid the press while boarding Air Force Two. What do you think she could be listening to that was so important?
How to Act Like a Normal Human Being audiobook, Chapter 1. Remember, a verb comes after a noun. A noun is a person, place, or thing. A verb is a word to describe an action. And whatever you do, keep your husband away from nannies. End of Chapter 1.
Yeah. He knocked up a nanny, huh? Who hasn't? Meanwhile, Kamala is being accused of using a fake accent while giving a speech in Detroit. Worse, after giving a speech in Pittsburgh, President Biden is being accused of using English. But you have to give Kamala credit for versatility. She uses a black accent in Detroit and uses an Indian one when she's talking to tech support. I know, racist. Racist. I agree with your outrage. A woman featured on the reality show 1,000 Pound Sisters was arrested at a Tennessee zoo and charged with drug possession. Police have ruled out Ozempic. And they add, it's unlikely she'll be on the run.
I like that one.
A marketing firm employed by Google and Facebook admitted they spy on people's conversations with the phone's microphone. Well, that explains why I keep getting ads for butt waxing. It was hit or miss. A social media user boasted that he would eat a bowl of dog poop if Florida State's football team lost to Boston College. But then he'd say he'd eat 2 bowls of dog poop if they won. Something tells me this isn't about football. And finally, an LA highway was backed up for miles after a semi-truck crashed and covered the roadway in French fries. Luckily, the cleaning crew called in an expert. The Donald Duck face. All right, so let's do a monologue. So by now you know the story about how Donald Trump was invited to attend a private service for those 13 American servicemen killed during our country's needlessly rushed and chaotic withdrawal from Afghanistan. It was to be at Arlington National Cemetery. Also invited, Joe and Kamala, who didn't respond, let alone show up. Kamala was too busy washing collard greens in her bathtub. And if you want to get a message to Biden, you have to email the morgue. But Trump went there at the specific request of the families. After the private ceremony, which wasn't open to the press, a cemetery staffer tried to stop the photographer because, as the cemetery said, federal law prohibits political campaign or election-related activities there, which included photographers. True, but federal law does not prohibit what Trump did. Trump was invited by the families, and they wanted pictures, and he obliged them. Of course, though, the mainstream media lost their
Arlington National Cemetery, arguably the most sacred place in our country, was being used as a backdrop for a political purpose.
You are not allowed to use Arlington for political purposes. There were human beings buried there. You're not supposed to use them as props. He did so anyway.
The Trump campaign was trying to use his visit for political gain.
But we want to honor our veterans, not exploit them. We want to honor our veterans, not exploit them.
He's now committed a new set of crimes. I mean, what he did in Arlington Cemetery was criminal behavior.
Criminal behavior, these assholes. And that's when, I had to say it, and that's when Kamala decided to go to war with a bunch of Gold Star moms, proving at least someone on their ticket won't run away from battle. Here's her tweet As VP, I've had the privilege of visiting Arlington National Cemetery several times. It's a solemn place where we come together to honor American heroes who've made the ultimate sacrifice. It's not a place for politics. I will always honor the service and sacrifice of all of America's fallen heroes. I mourn them and salute them, and I will never politicize them. Well, first of all, it's nice of her to admit she's been VP for the past 4 years. It's like hearing a serial killer finally admit he was responsible for the string of bodies found across the country. As for no politics, well, just last November, Joe gave a speech at Arlington on Veterans Day where he touted his policies, and it happened after he announced his re-election run. That's not a campaign speech, then I can't swing my legs behind my head. But Kamala and the media didn't care about that. Apparently, she forgot the actual human beings who died due to her incompetent and dishonest administration and their loved ones who still mourn them. Listen to the Gold Star families in response to Harris.
Kamala, your statement is nothing more than a political spin to help you look better.
Vice President Harris, why will you not express your condolences yourself? Why have we never heard from you?
You have disparaged all 13 who have lost their lives as well as their families, exhibiting your lack of gratitude by your silence.
President Trump has been there for us. He's been a rock for us.
These are the only memories we get to make with our son, and it is you who is playing politics and trying to detract from our memories made that day.
Now, what pisses me off is I bet you didn't see that anywhere else except on Fox News. Odd how this story went from extremely interesting to nothing to see here. The media can be awe of Kamala's fakery, but where did the Gold Star family's reaction find a home? On X, not on the legacy news. Funny how this direction of disinterest only goes one way. It's the same as their disinterest in Biden's dementia for 4 years, the soft coup and the cover-up that caused it, Kamala's rise to stardom in mere weeks, which still baffles the out of me. Of course, you can obsess over Trump's love life, but Kamala, forget about it. Make a joke about her and Willie Brown, you're going down, so to speak. Remember when the media deemed Trump a global embarrassment for what he said, not what he did? Now Biden's actions are supremely awful, never mind his words, and the media goes AWOL like Tim Walz. When a few of Trump's bitter relatives vented about Orange Hitler, it was everywhere. Mary Trump covered the news like the cat hair on her housecoat. But Tim Walz's actual brother, who is 100% opposed to him politically and character-wise, thing is said. Tim hasn't spoken to his brother in 8 years, and he's not even a reporter. I guess in Minnesota, politicians don't talk to their brothers, they just marry them. Joke. You can go back further, the way the media manages reality by shifting attention away from the White House cocaine, the non-existent P-tape, the 51 intel officers authoring a letter debunking the very real laptop, the Nord Stream pipeline destruction, Epstein's suicide, the COVID lab leak. These stories can all be dismissed because the people who run the faucets of information pick and choose their interests to control reality. But there's only one reality they couldn't control, and it rhymes with Trump, because it is. It shouldn't have been this hard for the media this time. But Trump, being so transparent and passionately followed, makes them sloppy. They end up showing their cards and exposing the game. How else can an attempted assassination just evaporate and a coup go uninvestigated while the least popular Democrat in recent history becomes Obama 2.0? The fact is, the people in charge want you to think you're making the choice, but they're making it for you. And it's right off their menu, a day-old Kamala special with a side of stupid. Tonight's guest, he's so British, his blood type is Earl Grey. The New York Post columnist and best-selling author Douglas Murray. She's the person to call when there's a really good brawl. Host of Outkick this morning, The Morning Charlie Arnold.